Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Manarino. This is my post-market wrap-up for today, Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. I had looked forward to doing this video all day long after the one I did earlier, pretty much almost at the market open. I want to cover a bunch of things with you here. So, the video that I did earlier today, when I had done that, I had said specifically that the stock market was down 145 points. At the low today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down almost 180 points. I said in the video that I did earlier today that I would not be surprised to see them try to, buy up this market and push it into positive territory. Well, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, again, from a low of almost 180 points to the downside, finished only down less than 30. Okay. That's one thing. But what is going on behind this? And I've been thinking about this a lot over the past several trading days. Again, let's go over some of the action that we have seen. Thursday, big sell-off in the bond market, which bled off straight through until Friday. Yesterday, the bond market, right at the open, some entity out there started buying, went up and then fell throughout the day. This is yesterday. Today, a lot of buying once again right at the open. And there's a reason for this. I've been covering it. I know who they are right now, and I know you do. You also do. The Federal Reserve, okay, that's who's doing this, has got to stabilize the bond market, not just stabilize the market. This is a language, people. You have to understand this whole thing. When someone like myself is trying to put together what is happening in these markets, I have to look at everything, not just what's going on technically, but what the fundamentals are behind it all, okay? So understanding that what we're witnessing here by putting this all together is a simple, well, maybe not so simple, but it is a language where one entity is speaking to another, and that is what's happening here. The action that we're seeing here, pay attention to this, in the bond market is more than suspicious. Now, if you were to have a look at the chart on my website, traderschoice.net, if you watched it throughout the day, and you can even see the pattern I'm going to mention right now, we had a whole bunch of buying, a little bit of a sell-off, a whole bunch of buying, a little bit of a sell-off. So, again, they're not going to allow this to sell off. As soon as it does, some entity, we know who it is now, it's the Federal Reserve, is buying up these bonds here to keep the bond market where it is and to keep the stock market propped up. Okay? The language is pretty simple. What we're seeing in the bond market, this is a signal to the market and traders and investors, institutional investors as well, hedge funds, that the Fed continues to have the back of the market, and they're going to prop it up no matter what they have to do. It's not real. It is a managed market at this point here. So that's what sparked a lot of the buying here today. You understand? Again, Dow Jones Industrial Average down almost 200 points at one point, like 180, 177. Then all of a sudden, a huge amount of buying comes in, pushes it almost into positive territory. Why? It's the bond market being manipulated right in front of our faces by the Federal Reserve, buying up these bonds here. Who has enough cash to do this? Let's put that into perspective. What entity out here, unless it's a whole bunch of the world's largest banks colluding with the Federal Reserve, which again leads us straight back to the Federal Reserve buying all of these bonds here. Think of the amount of cash that would need to be involved here to move the bond market like that. Again, the bond market is the biggest market of them all. Period. Okay? And then you got this surge of buying into equities. Again, almost pushing stocks back into positive territory today. This is a language believe me, that the market is reading off of the bond market. The stock market is getting a signal from the bond market directly from the Federal Reserve and probably some other world banks saying, don't worry, we got your back here. This bull market is going to continue on until we say so. That's how I see this, and it's as simple as that. It's just trying to decipher what is being said here through this kind of language. It's that simple. I think, and I would love to hear from you, that you can understand what I'm saying here, and it should make sense to you. At least I hope so. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens overnight with regard to bond yields, and then if there's going to be another huge amount of buying tomorrow morning with regard to the bond market, stabilizing the whole thing, sending yet another signal to the stock market, and we'll see how that affects the stock market. Again, I would not be surprised to see this stock market tomorrow gain 100 points, 200 points. Look, again, it depends on the signals that is being sent to the stock market via the bond market. So, again, if you get a second here, go to my website, traderschoice.net, right side of the page. Look at the bond market chart. You're going to see what I'm talking about. It's like a step pattern. Buy, 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 buy. Little bit of a sell-off. Buy, 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 buy. Little bit of a sell-off. It's incredible. So, just like how we fully understand, again, the entire debt market as a whole, bond market, is being bought up by world central banks. They are taking the largest part of the market, artificially suppressing those interest rates, allowing massive amounts of speculation to occur in the stock market, thus inflating a bubble in the stock market. So managed debt market, manipulated stock market, and of course the metals market too as well. Did you see the dollar today? The dollar got hammered today, and they were hammering gold and silver earlier. I think gold did eke out a small gain despite what they're trying to do to it. Anyway, it's just so interesting. But try to think of all this in these kinds of terms, that we're watching a language take place, and by just following what's going on here in the bond market, something I've been screaming about probably for almost a decade now, we can get a handle on what the stock market is going to do. So let's see how this plays out tomorrow. Just keep this in mind as well. There's going to be a moment where this does not work anymore. It could be at any moment. But I still believe, as I've been saying, that the stock market is being used as a prop and a distraction for political reasons and a whole bunch of other things as well. So they are going to do whatever they have to do. If that means the Fed is going to print trillions out of thin air to manipulate those bonds, to not let them sell off here, it's in a bubble. You understand that any kind of a panic selling with regard to the bond market has the potential to be catastrophic. Catastrophic. So you're getting these signals. You're getting the signals here in the bond market that the stock market is saying, okay, you got my back. This is the stock market talking. I see you got my back. And then we saw what happened today. A huge amount of buying brings the stock market almost back to positive territory. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out tomorrow. And I will be out here early in the morning to put this a perspective on what's going on. Anyway, think about these things, the whole language concept, these secret signals that are going on between the bond market and the stock market. This is the Federal Reserve and the world's largest banks now that are doing this. There's no doubt about it, because no individual investor, no institution other than a bank or the Federal Reserve has enough power to do this, to move these markets like this in almost a coordinated attack or manipulation or fakery or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I know this video is getting kind of long-winded here, but I would love to hear from you, and I promise to read the comments. What do you think about this? Do you believe that what I am saying is true and that what I'm saying makes sense to you? All right, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, and I almost can't wait to see what happens. I swear to you, the first thing I'm going to do is look at that bond market. I would not be surprised to see the same scenario. Big buying right at the open. All right, that's it. I will see you tomorrow morning. Over and out.